Something exciting has arrived in Dublin, combining 80 years of service excellence with 120 years of German engineering. Linder's Opel, the new name for Opel in Finglas and Turvey. Call in and meet our expert sales and service teams. Find your perfect 191 Opel and choose your perfect offer. With 0% PCP and HP finance, a guaranteed minimum of €3,000 scrappage or 3 years free servicing. Visit lindersopel.ie for details or drop into us at Finglas and Turvey. Linder's Opel, now open. Terms and conditions apply.
Blog Talk Radio.
Always look up, never give up, and you will reach your goals. You're important, you're more than enough. And here she is, your host for Rolling with the Diva, Sabrina Williams. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Rolling with the Diva with Sabrina Williams. Today we are going to interview the magnificent Terri M. MSLPC. She's an author. She's a business consultant. She is a fabulous woman who has a great story to tell, and we're going to welcome her to the line in just a few minutes. And I just want to thank everybody for listening to Rolling with the Diva. We want to actually say Happy Veterans Day. Actually, yesterday was Happy Veterans Day. And for you guys that didn't know that, Veterans Day is actually celebrated on the 11th day, the 11th hour, and the 11th month. And this was on 1918. And so just so you guys know that. So we are going to welcome our guest to the line. In just a second. The computer's a little slow today. Hi, Terri, and welcome to Rolling with the Diva.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, welcome. Well, before we go into the actual interview, I want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and where you're calling from. We'll play some music, and then we'll come back and interview you.
So I am, again, Terri Bowles. I am in Cincinnati, Ohio, where we're starting to get snow. Yay, us. Yeah, it's kind of coming a little bit early this year, but that's okay. I am the owner of Bold Visions Consulting. I am a mental health therapist, and so my mission is just to teach the community about mental health with an emphasis on self-esteem and self-empowerment. And up under the umbrella of my business, I've authored 3 books, as well as I facilitate workshops and different groups, public speaking, and things like that. So that's a little bit about me.
All right. Well, Terri, we're going to play a song, and we will be right back. We're going to play Lady Cassandra, Send Me, and then we'll come back for a great interview with Terri. Be right back.
All right.
Oh
All right, that was Lady Cassandra with Send Me. And on the air with us is Rolling with Diva. We have Miss Terri Bowles. Terri Bowles is a licensed therapist, author, speaker, and the creator of Bold Visions Consulting, a business created to educate the community on mental health, emphasizing self-esteem and self-empowerment. Upon receiving a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in 2006 from Wright State University, Terri worked as a therapist before taking positions as associate professor, mental health specialist, and a substitute teacher over the years. In 2015, she founded her business, Bold Visions Consulting, focusing on self-esteem and empowerment as if she were addressing her younger self. I like that. With Bold Visions, Terri has been able to facilitate workshops, speak and educate on mental health issues in schools and churches with youth. Participants have been featured in printed publications. In 2016, she was honored with the Entrepreneur Award and the Entrepreneur Pitch People's Choice Awards by the National Black MBA Association. In addition to educating and empowering others, Terri also has a passion for writing. Terri released her first self-published book, Bold Love, a letter to my young sister in 2016, and Bold Choices, They Say I'm Bad in the summer of 2017. In partnership with Cincinnati Public Schools, Terri is helping implement the importance of mental wellness and practice of anti-bullying, not only by teaching and literature, but also using visuals, interactive activities, and experiences more to come. Terri will continue to empower and encourage by traveling and speaking to the masses about the important mental health and wellness. She is a public speaker. Her public speaking topics include youth and self-empowering, own it, be you, be bold, mental health awareness, let's talk about it, bullying strategies and prevention, student leadership and development, suicide prevention. As we said, she's a therapist, and she has written the 2 books, Bold Choices. All right, you guys, we're going to welcome to the air Ms. Terri Bowles, and we really appreciate her being here. Terri, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. And so we are just going to start with some questions. These are just basic questions that I ask all authors, and here we go with them. Are you having a great day?
I am so far. I'm just, I'm one of those people that put their Christmas ornaments up early, so I'm just kind of sitting, looking at my Christmas tree and talking to you.
Oh, my goodness. You have the Christmas tree up already? Poor turkey hasn't even been celebrated. Oh, my. So do you put it right up after Thanksgiving? After Halloween?
I don't always put it up right up, but usually somewhere around Thanksgiving, I put it up. But I told my friends, the holiday season is Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. They always make fun of me about putting my stuff up early.
Hey, well, the good side, though, is you have it up early. You can cut down on the stress. You don't have to worry. And let me see, are you finished with your Christmas shopping?
Now, that I have not even started.
Okay, well, you know what? I am finished with my Christmas shopping. I do that early, and I am very excited. All right, let's get to the interview. When did you first realize, Terri, you wanted to be a writer?
I actually liked writing when I was younger. I found my mom gave me some old things of mine, and in it had like little stories I made up when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And then I used to journal a lot. And in grad school, I had developed epilepsy, and it made it made it very challenging for me to even finish my master's degree. And so it was at that point that I stopped writing. Once I was able to complete my degree, I didn't write or anything like that. So just around like 2015, I guess it was something that just kept laying on me, but I just never attempted because my mind was still back where, it was challenging for me. And then I just picked it up in 2015 and just started writing.
Wow. Well, good for you. And I know that a lot of people don't realize epilepsy and other disorders with your brain are sometimes actually called traumatic brain injury and TBI, and we'll be talking about those next week. So just so you guys know. But Terri, how long does it take you to write a book?
So my first book, it probably took maybe 4 or 5 months or so. I started, I wrote the ending first. Actually, happens to be the first thing I wrote, and then I didn't pick anything up for maybe 3 months or so, and then I just kind of sat one night and finished it. The second and the third book, I kind of wrote those in very short spans of time.
All right. Now, you say that the first book, as I was reading your introduction, that it's about you would talk to your younger self. Explain that to us.
So the first book is a self-esteem book for Black girls to young adult women, even adult women. Enjoy the book, and I say that because it is about dealing with the insecurities that we have, that I had as a young person growing up. And the book is encouragement, it's education, and it's helping bring about self-awareness to oneself and encouraging people to see that their lives are not atypical. There are other people that have experienced and that go through the same things that you have or similar things. At the same time, encouraging artistry and, again, learning tools for you, and just kind of to build you up, things that I needed as a 12-year-old, 15-year-old, even 20-year-old. So.
Okay. Now, how do you I know that I really focus my show on mental health across the board for African Americans, women, domestic violence. How do you think self-esteem and the history of just in the last 20 years has impacted African American young women?
I think self-esteem, your self-worth is the base for a lot of things. If you essentially don't feel good about yourself, if you don't believe in your abilities, then that will lead you down the path accordingly, just like if you did believe in yourself and your abilities. So a lot of times what happens in the Black community, I believe, we have so many factors that can affect how we see ourselves: absent parents, sexual abuse, being impoverished affects your ability to see any kind of change in your future. So all of those things definitely and can be the base of who a person is.
Okay. I really like that. So would you be able to offer the audience listening, the people who's going to listen to this broadcast later on Spotify, our iHeartRadio, and 1.4 million listeners on Jerry Royce Live, what are some tips for self-esteem?
I would say two things that I'm really, really big on. One is looking at yourself in the mirror, and all of my 3 books have mirrors on them. And one of the hardest things for people to do is look at themselves in the mirror. And when I say look at yourself in the mirror, you're looking at yourself for everything that you are, not what you want to be, but who you are at that moment. You're going to look at yourself and you're going to begin to affirm yourself. You're going to begin to look outside of everything wrong that you see is going on with you, and it's going to force you I implore you to force yourself to be able to say affirmations to yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and then be able to begin to affirm who you are at that particular time.
I like that. And one of the things that my therapist told me today, Stephanie, my physical therapist I'm still working on rehab for my hip, she always said, she says today, you got to be good to yourself and don't beat yourself up. I think that's important. And a couple of ones that I picked up from over the years and from internet, from my school books, think about what is affecting your self-esteem. Avoid negative self. Go ahead.
I was going to say in the book there are journal pages to kind of help guide those things.
Oh, nice.
Because it's different. It's different for one to think about themselves and answer questions that they have typically not pondered. So if I ask somebody, I recently asked a group of women, actually, what kind of strengths do you have that you believe will benefit this group? They didn't know how to tell me.
Oh, wow.
These are professional, educated women that have trouble sitting, looking at themselves and coming up with positives about themselves, strengths that they possess that would be able to benefit a group. So those kind of things may seem simple when you hear somebody say it, but being, a therapist and a group facilitator and things like that is very, what I began to find is the norm for people to not have really properly self-assess themselves, or they fear being able to affirm themselves.
That's a way good point. And I like how you pointed out that even grown people, women and men, can have a hard time coming up with positive about themselves. And I've been writing on that a lot lately for everybody. I always have this saying that I've been using for the last 2 years, you're more than enough. And I've explained it to a couple of people. It means that at this moment, this point in time, you are exactly where you're meant to be. You're exactly where God has you. Jeremiah 29:11. God knows the plans He has for you to not harm you, to give you a hope and a future. Paraphrase for all those Bible numbers. But it just means that you're enough. You're more than enough. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Don't self-sabotage yourself, and avoid negative self-talk. I always suggest to people that, we do something for 7 times, and if we really practice and do it for 30 days, it will really stay with our mind and our psyche. So if you stand in front of the mirror and you pick a term, I am beautiful, I am more than enough, whatever you would like, you say that to yourself 7 times a day, and you do it for 30 days, I can guarantee you that's going to get in your mind, and it'll help you be able to stand up to other people. Another one is, this is what Terri already alluded to without saying it, but, sometimes joining a group or getting in a group with people and connecting with other people who love you. Learning to be assertive. I think one of the hardest things for people with self-esteem, low self-esteem, is to be assertive, because they feel like they might be hurting somebody's feelings, but at the end of the day, you're actually whose feelings are really getting hurt. Terri, do you want to expound on that?
Being assertive is something that I am ever evolving with. And the thing with being assertive, the thing with the fear of being assertive for yourself is that you don't want to disappoint another person. And what we have to understand, what I continue to have to understand, is that I have to take care of myself as well, because I can make myself available to all of these things, or I can allow people to say what they want to me, but I'm the one going home with me and feeling low. So in order for me to continue and to elevate my self-esteem and my self-worth, it is okay for me to speak up for the things that I need the things that I don't need, the things that I will allow, the things that I will not allow. And we just have to be able to understand that it's okay to say no. And it's okay
I
to
agree.
say yes.
I totally.
So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%. You know what? And it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to say no, definitely. Because sometimes saying yes to everything is only going to make you frustrated, and you cannot blame the person that you said yes to because you have a choice. And the last two are focus on your positives, take care of yourself. We are going to play a song, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about Bold Choice. They Said I'm Bad, Terri's second book. And we'll be right back. And you're on the air with Rolling with the Diva. And we want to thank Kimmy Kim from Relations Radio and Magazine for being a sponsor of Rolling with the Diva. They have been supporting us and reaching out for us for a long time, so we really appreciate them. We are going to go with Jehovah, and we'll be right back.
Jehovah, the God that healeth me. Jehovah, the God that meets my needs. Sovereign God Almighty, you are. Sovereign God Almighty, you are.
All right, we're back on the air with Rolling with the Diva, and that was Jehovah, and it's a wonderful song. I forgot who the author was or the artist of who that was, but we're on the line with Terri Bowles, and we are back. We're going to talk about her second book that she is called Bold Choices, They Say I'm Bad. All right, Terri, tell us what was behind you writing that book, and what would be the lesson we would want to take home from that?
What's behind that particular book is just interactions that I had with some youth and family, discussing some of the decisions they were making, young people, boys in particular, just asking, why did you do that? And they would tell me because I'm bad. And I would say, well, who told you that? Like, why are you saying you're bad? He said, and they both said different boys don't know each other. Well, they say I'm bad. So that's exactly where that came from, and it just basically talks about the power of words, the power that adult words have on children, and how they begin to take on different things as labels, and then how that can trickle down into their behaviors, leading to bullying. And it also talks about just being able to properly express your feelings. It talks about bullying and forgiveness as well.
All right, and let's get into the topic of bullying. Do you believe that sometimes if children are not helped with bullying, that bullies become bullies, and actually bullies can sometimes become killers?
I don't know if I would go so far as to say that bullying could be a direct link to being a killer, but there, again, the base, every part of every human being is mental health. So when I'm explaining this to people, because when they hear mental health, they hear therapists, they automatically have this stereotype of what that is, and it's typically something negative. I'm not crazy or talking to myself or depression, and mental health encompasses everything that we are. So I would say that if our mental health is not in a healthy place, that is when unhealthy behaviors begin to arise.
Okay. All right. I like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about why bullies bully and sometimes stopping the trend. I've seen a lot where some, not all kids, and it's a smaller percentage, but where sometimes adults bully other people, and they've done that in their lives. Sometimes it's just comfortable for them, and they may not understand what they're doing. But what is your take on why bullies bully other people, especially children?
A couple of things. One, other people do it, so they do it. It's a fad. You want to fit in. Other reasons are, issues with themselves, issues at home, learning disabilities, socioeconomic status, poverty. Those are, with youth, those are another, probably pretty much the sum total of the things that youth deal with, trauma, and all of that comes out in, feeling as though attacking someone else is healthier. People try to take control. Right. They might not have control, but I can control that. I can do this. So, for youth, and even some adults, but those are pretty much the gamut of things that usually are the force behind youth bullying.
Okay, and I like that. That's a great way to put it. Now, before we go any further, can you tell everybody where they can find you at and contact you? And that would be really great.
Sure. My Facebook page is Bold Visions Consulting, and that's Visions with an S. Instagram is Visions Bold, as well as Twitter. My email address is www.boldvisionsconsulting.com, and that's BOLDVISIONS consulting.com. And my email is tbolds@boldvisionsconsulting.com.
All right. Now, are you? What's new? What's coming up for Terri? Is there any new books? Do you have a? Or do you go also? You travel to talk to people?
I do. I travel to do, women's workshops or speaking engagements for youth, or anything about empowerment, mental health. I do travel. My calendar has wind down for the year. I think I'm going to be co-hosting a sip and shop event for vendors for the holidays. My third book came out in September. It's called Bold Me, I Am Worthy, and that is also for youth. And that's about it. That third book has been, blossoming, doing well since its release in September. And I'm just kind of winding down the year, hoping to start building up my calendar for 2019.
Now, tell us about your third book.
My third book, Bold Me, I Am Worthy. Everything is a play off of my last name, Bolds, BOLDS.
Okay.
And so basically that book kind of chronicles 4 different youth, a Muslim, a young girl that's Muslim of Middle Eastern descent, a black girl with braids, another boy, and 2 other boys. And it just kind of highlights how the kids don't want to play with them because of perceived differences, and how the people, the grown-ups in their lives, are encouraging them to see their self-worth. And at the end of the book, the kids that are being bullied went to teach the other kids that everyone deserves love. And at the end, everybody's, friends gets along.
I like that. Well, Miss Terri, I really appreciate you coming on Rolling with the Diva. You're very impressive. You've done a lot of great things, and you actually are inspiration to a lot of the, I'd say women, because just like we had 100 women who were elected to Congress this last, I call it a mini election, we are doing some great things. I was reading this, and I forgot the child's name, but the child was killed by a white officer, and his mom is now a senator, and I can't remember his name. But I just thought that, wow, the world is just changing, and that's amazing. So I want to remind you guys, when you listen to the show and you're driving, or you just take time to relax and listen to it, you're more than enough. You're wanted. You're loved by God. And you know what? There is nothing that you can do if you just set your mind straight. You may have to go down a different path than I go to get there, or somebody else, but nobody's journey is going to be the same. Don't look at somebody else's grass on their path and say theirs is greener and I'm not getting there. Just concentrate on you, and you will get to yourself. And today we were talking a lot about books about self-esteem, about bullying, and about acceptance. And I want to remind you guys of this verse, and it is in Mark 22, verses 34 to 40. This is the King James Version. Jesus said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with thy heart and with thy soul and with all their mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these 2 commandments hang the law and the prophets. So basically, you guys, you have to love somebody like you love yourself. If you're not in love with yourself, then you may not be able to love other people like that. You love people unconditionally. You accept them where they're at. Doesn't mean they have to be in your circle, because sometimes you do have to kick people out of the circle. And if you guys need that goodbye letter that I have, that I wrote for you're kicked out of the circle, it's nothing personal, let me know and I'll send it to you. Yes, Terry, I did really write that for people, because you know what? Sometimes people don't need to be in your life. That's it. I'm really a big believer
Very
on that.
true.
So there's nothing personal to people. But you know what, you guys? I really, really hope that you guys will look up the books. Terry, are these books on Amazon?
They are on Amazon as well as on my website.
All right. Wonderful. And would you like to give any shout-outs or any last words that you would like to say before we go?
Just thank you to Delphine Legacy Media, my marketing company, they booked me some wonderful interviews and engagements, so I appreciate that. And just a shout out to all the women, just especially just out there trying to live their lives, trying to raise their children, trying to be the best that they can be. Just remember that you're worthy because you're here.
Amen on that. And I just want to, Terry reminded me of something. I know there's a lot of single moms and single dads out there. Don't be hesitant to go to a church in your area. Churches, sometimes people only use churches during the holidays for maybe to go to service or to think of maybe getting extra food for the children when they're off for holidays. But churches are, and there's also organizations that are really big on giving food baskets. And I don't know if a lot of people know, most churches you can go to once a month to get help with your food. Don't be shy about that. That will help your kids. No kid should go hungry, and you yourself shouldn't go hungry. Maybe you have a senior parent that they're home by themselves and they're not able to cook for themselves right now. Meals on Wheels in all the states will be able to help you. It costs them nothing. Don't be shy about that. And I'm going to wish you guys a Merry, Merry Christmas. I'm skipping over to turkey for now because Terry started that with her Christmas tree. So wasn't me, that was her. So you know what? I want you guys to have Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. And as people know, my running joke is I celebrate all the holidays because Jesus was Jewish. I'm Jewish, so I can celebrate Hanukkah. I can celebrate Kwanzaa. It's all about the presents for me, people. Nothing personal. So, I'm sorry, Jerry. I have no sense with this. I love presents. So, you know what? And all of it too. Let me be honest. I love the food because the different cultures making different food. I'm just happy about that. And if you guys have ever had matzo ball soup or potato pancakes, or my mom used to take greens and stuff them into Cornish hens. Those are the best. So I'm like, I just love the food. But you know what? Terry is going to probably have to go make her Christmas list. You guys, thank you for rolling with the Diva. We are going to play our commercial of Queen Sylvia, and then we're going to be off the air. Thank you so much, Terry. I appreciate you. And thank you, Latrice, for all of the people that you have introduced us to. And on November 18th, we will have another artist from Latrice here, and he has been on the second season of Empire. Wednesday, tune in to children 1 to 5. Should they have chores? Terry, do you have any children?
I do not.
Do you think kids should have chores if they're age 1 to 5?
I definitely think they should have chores. Definitely.
Amen. I have only met one person. No, I agree. I you know what? I can remember at 2 years old having to, I wasn't like cleaning the bathroom, but I had to pick up my shoes and clean my room and try, to help around. And I had to take my, do little things. At 5 years old, I was climbing up on the chair, washing dishes. I think this is my motto. If you don't teach your children young to do chores, it doesn't allow them to have an appreciation for life, for working with other people, and for just realizing they're not entitled. Because none of us are entitled to the things we are giving. We're blessed and gifted by God to give those, or whether you believe in a higher power. So with that being said, you guys have a great day. We're going to go out with commercial with Queen Sylvia. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey, this is Sylvie, host of the Queen Sylvie Show on the Fishbowl Radio Network. Check out the show every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can hear me keep it real about everything while making a difference promoting comedy and other artistic talents from the Dallas-Fort Worth area and around the world. Don't miss the Queen Sylvie Show. Holla.
on FishbowlRadioNetwork.com. Jump in.